14, and now we're moving on to I'm 17, 17, 18-ish. And I was trying to find other people. I was still traveling out of body. I was still going to visit my grandparents. I didn't go much further. But nobody spoke about it. So I said to, uh, I asked my family and friends, I said it in a third party. I said, do you know anybody that travels outside of the body at will? And said, no, no, it must be delusional. They must be imagining it. So I thought, well, I'm sure there's more to this. I'll ask Ort. So that evening I went to bed and I held out my hand and I said to Ort, I know there's a lot more uh, to this. Can you come and show me some more? So I closed my eyes, relaxed, I fell asleep, I held my hand out. And he came and he took hold of my hand and I left my body. I looked down, I could see it fast asleep. And uh, he took me out of the window, went out through the window. We flew around the subdivision, the neighborhood, and then came back into the window. Just a short trip. I looked down, I could see my body fast asleep, and I went back into my body. I woke up the following morning thinking, wow, was I dreaming? Was it real? I wasn't certain. So I decided to do the same thing the following night. So I went to bed, I relaxed. I held my hand out and I asked Art to come and show me more. He came, he took hold of my hand. We went out through the window. This time we went into Leeds city centre and we flew around Leeds city centre. I saw the university where I worked as a technician. I saw the town hall and the hospital, the buildings that I recognised. And the streets were vibrant with people enjoying themselves. It must have been a weekend. I don't know the day, but Leeds got a vibrant nightlife. And then we came back into the window. My body was asleep, and I went back into my body. So that's twice. I'm still not concerned whether I'm sleepwalking or dreaming or whatever. So I thought I'll do it a third time. I'll ask again. But on this occasion, I was a bit concerned about going out through the window because we were 3 stories up in my apartment. So when he came on the third night, I did the same routine. I relaxed. I opened my mind. I held out my hand and I asked him if he would show me more. He came and took hold of my hand. Before we went out the window, I said, do you mind if we go out through the roof? Because I don't know whether I'm sleepwalking or dreaming or what. So, yeah, no problem. So we went out through the roof. And all subsequent journeys then were out through the roof. And then one evening he came to me and said, Kevin, I'm going to take you somewhere special this evening. Are you prepared to come with me? I said, yes, I am. So uh, I relaxed, I opened my mind again. He had hold of my hand, we went out to the roof, and we just kept going up and up and up and up. And I saw the earth getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And we went into a higher dimension. And the dimensions are just frequencies of consciousness. The higher the frequency, the higher the dimension. And we entered this higher dimension, and there's a line of 30 people there. At the head of the line was my deceased father. He was stood up, he was 6 feet tall. I'd never seen him standing because when I was a child, he was in a wheelchair when I was born. So I'd never seen him standing. So he stood there, beaming face, greeted me, and said he was going to introduce me to my family going back 30 generations. So he started off down the line, and the love that emanated from this group was just tremendous, almost overwhelming. We went down the group, each was introduced to me. They spoke about their past incarnation. And we got halfway down the line, and then instead of seeing an individual, I saw a pure conscious energy orb. And this orb was orangey yellow in color, 6 inches across, 4 to 6 inches, and slightly vibrating. But they showed me telepathically their last incarnation. We still had communication. And I went down the line. And then I came back again. And then it was time to leave, and we left. And I visited them a few times with Art, and I got so confident and comfortable with it that I was able to do it on my own. And I visited them over a 2 year period. But they wanted me to stay with them. And I knew that I felt that if I did stay with them, my physical would die. And I was enjoying my physical at that time. I was 17, 18, going on 19 now, because I've been visiting a couple of years. And I decided one day at work, I'd go back one last time. Well, I decided I wasn't going to go back. And then I thought, well, I better go back and let them know that I'm not coming again. So I went back one more time and told them that I wouldn't be coming to visit. And They again tried to persuade me to stay, but I left. And I haven't been back since. I know they're still there at a higher level of consciousness. Uh, so uh, uh, so I haven't been back. But like I say, when a body does die, I'll go back and visit with them again. So that was another encounter with at 17 and 18. So yeah, I'm not quite sure. Um, I mean, other things that they've taught me is in relation. They've given me experiences. They don't sit me down in a classroom, and they give me experiences. And that experience of meeting the deceased family members was really an explanation of consciousness. In fact, that when the physical dies, our conscious energy continues on. So.
Do you want to show us the pictures with the rainbow?
Oh yes, I can do that. Yes, let's see if I can find them. The first one. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, right. This is the rear of my property, and that's my fence. I've got 5 acres, and that fence line is there, is the end of my property. Now, this craft appeared under this rainbow here. My wife was taking a picture of the rainbow when the craft appeared. She saw it quite clearly as a round metallic disc, but the photograph is blurred. So we put some filter, but we did it in black and white, so that's slightly different again. So there's an enhancement here. Within that black and white, you can see there's a craft in there. It looks like it's cloaked. There's something about that. So, but interesting that they showed her the craft as I was talking telepathically with Tia. And then we put some other filter. A friend of mine put some filters on, some different filters. And again, you can see that there's something in the middle of this blur. But as I say, my wife saw it quite clearly. And right. So, and then I can share some more information if you're interested, not with the Council of Eight, but with the psychic abilities and telepathic abilities, the psychic abilities that I have, that we all have as humans, but they've been enhanced by my ET guides, by my experiences with them. But we all have these abilities. On another occasion, I was out with my dogs. This is the front of my property, and a rainbow appeared. And I know that rainbows are used by our star families as portals. They're used for communication. And while I was out with my dogs, I received a message from Edgar Mitchell. Edgar Mitchell had passed some 3 or 4 months earlier, and he said that he wanted to convey a message. Would I convey a message to a friend of his, Dr. Rebecca Hardcastle-Wright? I said, yes, I would. I had never heard of Rebecca Hardcastle-Wright at that time. So I said I would. He gave me the message. Within the message was some personal information. And this really is just demonstrating another experience in relation to consciousness being used as a communication. Even though his physical has died, he's still able to communicate. So he gave me the message. And then I thought, well, how do I find out who's this Dr. Rebecca Hardcastle-Wright? I hadn't heard of her. So I asked my friend, Dr. Melanie Barton. I said, Melanie, I've been given this message by, and she's psychic as well, so she accepts the fact that we were able to communicate with our deceased family members. She said, but I've never heard of this Dr. Rebecca Hardcastle-Wright. And she said, Kevin, Kathleen Marden knows Dr. Rebecca Hardcastle-Wright. So she gave me an email introduction, and then I gave her the information, complete with the personal information that only someone would know that knew Rebecca. So that was the confirmation, really. And since then, we've become friends, and I've joined the Exo Conscious community, and, which are all people like myself who have their own contact, who've developed their own psychic abilities, psychic intelligence, who all have their own contact with deceased family and friends, who have contact with the extraterrestrials, different extraterrestrials. And now some of the Council 8 are reaching out to some of the members of the Exo Conscious community. And if anybody's interested in more information or joining the community, the website is www.exoconscioushumans.com. And there's a lot of information there in relation to all our contact that we're all having, and many are having globally, many are speaking out now. So we're moving towards the reveal of their presence globally, their physical reveal. So that will be the next step, as it were. And funny enough, Edgar is reaching out to members of the exo-conscious community as well. So, and they say the Council of Eight are, but then what we've done, we've developed our human abilities to use these abilities that we all have, but we're not taught them. Because I don't know why we're not taught them, but I can suspect why we're not taught them. But there are many abilities that we have, many healing abilities. I mean, and I mentioned earlier my main education has been one of consciousness, and now it can be used for communication, education, travel, healing, creation, and co-creation. I have practical examples of all of those because it's part of who I am, and I am human. I've just developed those abilities. I was given an analogy that I'm not able to fly a 747 jumbo jet because I haven't been taught how to. But I could be taught how to, but I haven't. But I'm able to communicate telepathically and use all my human abilities because I've been taught how to. So it's as simple as that, really. So really, we're sharing the information so other people. In fact, I was at a local restaurant the other day, and I was just showing a short video to someone, and she said, she said, because I spoke about deceased family and friends, she said, after my father died, she said, I was watching the TV and I saw the reflection of my deceased father in the TV stood in the kitchen behind me.
Wow.
And then he was there for several seconds. And then when I turned around to see him, he disappeared. But again, these are things that we don't talk about because it's been taboo in the past. But hopefully things are going to change now as we learn more as a species, as a human species. So I think that really brings me up to date with, I do have a mission. I know what my mission is. My mission is to help to facilitate the reveal globally of our star family's presence. And I'm working towards that now. In fact, I was woken up, I told you this story. I was woken up at 444 the other day, and they gave me information. They do that very often. They'll wake me up at 111, 222, 333, 444, things like that. And they're now requesting that say that there's because of all the people reaching out through the CE5 protocols, and especially because Costa McCreese and his global community all reaching out to us, then they need a request now from the citizens of Earth. And a simple request, something like, I am requesting our star families reveal their presence globally for open contact and cultural exchange. And if we all do that, then we, the citizens of Earth, are inviting our star families. And the group that I'm working with, are here to assist with our evolution, here to assist with the development of our technologies. And they're willing to share their technologies, they tell me. So these are quite exciting times. But we have to do it. Our government's not going to do it. We, the people, we, the citizens of Earth, have to make that request. I do have a couple of other, I don't know if you've got time, Chloe, but I do receive downloads of information. I can share those with you if you want.
Yes, but that was one of my questions. When you receive downloads or telepathic communications, do you instantly know who is communicating with you, like through the energy or the frequency? Or sometimes you need to ask, is this Ort? Is this D? Or you just kind of know who is.
No, you're correct. I know through the frequencies who it is. Within that frequency, it's not just telepathic communication in relation to hearing the communication. I also get a visual within the conscious energy. It's like watching a TV screen. So I'll see who I'm talking to. I'll see the room that they're in. And if there's anybody with them, I'll see them around there. But I also can receive their emotions as well within that telepathic communication. So I've got the telepathic verbal. I've got a visual that's like watching a screen, and the emotions as well. And the first time I learned about the emotions within the communication, I was talking with Zach, the mathematician, and I cracked a joke. and I saw him smile and laugh, and the
Oh,
energy of the laughter, the emotion of laughter came through the communication. So that was my first example of that. But again, all education, all steps, all along the way to get me to this position where I can now communicate with them at will at their level of consciousness because I have an understanding of it. But the couple of downloads that I'm interested in is let me think now. Oh, I sat by my pool, just relaxing, enjoying myself, and they gave me a download of the quantum unified field theory, which I knew nothing about. I'm not a scientist. I knew nothing about it whatsoever. So I sat there. I said, "Look, you just give me all this information, and I don't know anything about it. Can you show me a craft as confirmation?" I've always asked for confirmation when I get communication because that helps understanding. But it's a dual communication. So can you show me a craft as confirmation that it came from you? And the craft appeared immediately. It was a big ball sphere. It appeared outside my pool cage. So I went inside to get my wife, and I said, "Come outside, Sam. There's a craft just appeared. Come on, I'll witness it." So we went outside. We went outside the pool cage. A second craft, third, four, five, seven in total came flying over slowly, silently. They changed direction by about 80 degrees and then disappeared sequentially as they had appeared. So that was
wow.
on one occasion. And then another occasion, they gave me a download of the theory of everything, just continuing on from the quantum unified field theory. And on that occasion, again, I was just sat by my pool. I said, "Look, you just give me all this information. Can you confirm it's come from you by giving me showing me a craft?" And a craft appeared immediately outside the pool cage, and it flashed 1, 2, 3 times. So that was confirmation for that. So, but again, they gave me that information, so I have an understanding of consciousness at the quantum level. And the quantum level within our DNA. Our DNA, they tell me, are light frequencies at the quantum level, and they can be encoded with information, and these codes can be activated. And I suspect that's what Art did when I was 9. He activated some codes within my DNA that allowed me to travel outside of the physical realm, outside of my body at will. So these things our scientists are not fully aware of yet, but they are learning. It's a very exciting time to be alive and be a part of this, the reveal globally to our human species that we are not alone. Not only are we are not alone, the universe is teeming with life. So quite excited. So and hopefully, the work will continue. I was asked by a leading scientist only recently. This was quite interesting because this is a leading scientist who's part of a research team in consciousness all his life. And he contacts me. He'd seen me do a talk, I think, on the, well, can't remember the show now. Let me think. No, can't remember. I'll think about it. Anyway, I was on this show and he saw it. So he contacted me and he said, "Kevin, can you ask your Orton D what they know about the void?" I hadn't heard of that. Never heard of it. So I asked them, and they gave me an equation for the void of consciousness, and with an explanation, and how all timelines, past, present, and future, are created from the void of consciousness. And it's not void as the name suggests. It has possibilities, it has potential, it has intentions, and that's where the timelines come from. So I sent him the equation, which he understood, which is amazing. So now we've got, and I sent the explanation as well. So now we've got a leading scientist, and other scientists are reaching out as well to the experiences because our star families are willing to share their knowledge with us. And as I said, the void of consciousness is part of consciousness itself. It's part of the creation side of consciousness. So that's really an interesting aspect, really, that scientists are now asking the experiencers to connect with their guides and share information. So, yeah, another step forward, really. And there are many experiencers now speaking out. There's many within the exo conscious community. There's many in other communities, many individuals speaking out. I'm not alone in this.
Do you guys do any like group gatherings through the website? Like, do you guys all meet
Yeah, within the exo conscious
Yeah.
community, yes, we meet once a week on a Thursday.
Wow.
Uh, I joined the group just over 2 years ago now, a part of a coaching group. There's 8 of us in our group, and we meet up, we discuss topics, and then they're put onto the website. So if anybody's interested in what we're discussing, you can go and have a look on the websites and things. And in fact, a friend of mine. Aurora. I think you know Aurora. I think you reached out to her, and
Yes.
she's after a CE5. She'd never been an artist or sketching or drawings and things. And we did a CE5 up at another friend who was part of the Exo Conscious community, Gary Bors. And after that CE5, she started channeling artwork, and she started channeling portraits of the Council of Eight. So they were reaching out to her, and there's a narrative with it. And if you're interested in seeing those, they are on the website again, www.exoconscioushumans.com, and go onto the gallery, and you can see all Aurora's channeled artwork of the Council of Eight. So again, they're reaching out to more and more. It's expanding my story, expanding my contact, because they are they're receiving their own contact. So it's really, really fascinating, really, how we've got to this stage in the past few years, really. And you're clearly helping with this, Chloe, because you're going to be making a documentary, and I'm sure you'll be including all this stuff and filming experiences and things. So yeah, it'll be it's a fascinating time to be here, I think, and to be experiencing it. So yeah, you're very fortunate at your age. You'll see it all evolve, and you'll see the reveal and everything. So, and then you'll carry the lamp and continue the work, I'm sure.
Yesterday, I was with my 2 best friends from high school, which we have like a really strong soul connection. And out of the blue, I was like, you guys want to go look at the stars tonight, just a little bit? And they came out again every night since
Wow.
I have the intention to like communicate with them. They've been coming out, and it was the first time for my 2 friends, and it's so uh fulfilling to be able to live that experience with people with who I am close. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yes, once you reach out to them and they show themselves, it changes your whole perspective. I have a friend of mine who's a really good friend. He's a retired detective from the UK, and he comes over. In fact, I was speaking with him yesterday. He comes over once or twice a year on vacation for a holiday or whatever, and always been a skeptic, and didn't believe in UFOs, E.T.s, and there's no afterlife. It's just black and white. He wants to see the evidence. Being a detective, he wants the evidence. So we were sat by my porch a few years ago now, and I said to him, "Would you like a beer?" And he said, "Yes, obviously." So I went inside to my refrigerator. I reached in. As I reached in, I said to my ET guides, "Now will be a time to show my friend the craft." So I took the beers outside. I sat down, and a craft appeared immediately along that fence line that I showed you earlier at the back with the UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
It appeared in the same. Let's have a look. It appeared in the same spot at the
Mm-hmm.
back here, and then it went up here, round up there like that, and then it shot straight up in the air. But he saw it. We all saw it. There was his wife, my wife, Sandy, and he was just gobsmacked. But it changed his whole perspective. It changed his reality. He now realizes that there are extraterrestrials. Our reality is greater than what we see because it's been hidden from us, I believe. But now we're opening to it. And now he does his own research. He sends me information about it. So it just shows you that these things really won't. And I think that's what will happen when the craft show themselves globally. All those people that don't believe in it will change their reality, and they will realize that we live in a much vaster universe, and there's a lot more to who we are as a species, and we can become a galactic species, which I suspect we all are anyway. But
Mm-hmm.
we've lost our history, or it's been hidden from us on purpose. It's been
Mm-hmm.
denied us, but we are discovering it ourselves. And people like the experiencers are bringing the information forward directly from the extraterrestrials, the higher conscious beings. So, yeah.
Do you ever get telepathic messages from other beings that are not the Council of Eight, or like new beings that you've never had contact with?
Yes, that's very. I have actually. Yes,
Yeah.
it's funny you should ask that. I listened to a podcast. Now, what's the lady's name? I think her name was Sue Walker, and she was talking about a group called the Penti, who have an underground base, a city. I forget what it was. I don't know. It might be New Mexico area, and she's in contact with the Penti. I'd never heard of them. So after I'd finished listening to the podcast, I thought I'll see if I can reach out to them. So I relaxed. I opened my mind. I asked to speak to the Penti, and two Penti appeared. I could see them quite clearly, as I already explained. We had a brief conversation, and then they left. And then I went on to Sue Walker's website, and she's got a list of the different Pentis that she's in contact with. And the first two on the list were the two that I communicated with. And so that was fascinating. And then now I've contacted them since. They've reached out to me. I've reached out to them. And now they're supporting the reveal. So now we've got another species supporting the reveal globally. Of obviously, there are several species in the Council of Eight. And obviously, we've now got the Penti that's coming on board. And I'm sure others will. I once had a contact with a reptilian. I've only had one contact with him, but it was interesting because I use all my abilities all the time. I was out traveling out of body because I enjoy doing that, and I was traveling out to our solar system because I like looking at the planets and the rings and having a look at that. And it's nice to relax and get out there, as it were. I'm on my way back, and I go into a cockpit of a craft, and the craft is transporting minerals from the Earth to the moon. There's two greys piloting the craft. They look round at me and say telepathically to one another, "What's he doing here?" So I realized I shouldn't be there. So I apologized and I left. I went back into my body. I looked down as I'm going back. I could see my body asleep, went back into my body. I woke up, and as I woke up, there was a tall grey there. And he warned me not to interfere. It was like a military type of a policeman, but he warned me not to interfere. He disappeared, and then this reptilian appeared. Quite interesting because I've never seen one before. I've heard about them, but I've never seen them. And he didn't like the human race. He was ambivalent to us. He just didn't like us at all. And but I knew why he was there. He wanted to know how a mere human could travel out of body, could materialize on a craft, and could understand telepathic communication. So that's why he was there. So there are many species around us, but if you can, and I'm not fearful of them because there are so many. I did have 7 greys come into my home one night. That's another story. My dogs, I've got 2 German Shepherds. About 3 o'clock in the morning, they were barking, and if you've got dogs, you understand the different barks. They were warning me of something. So I got up, I put all my outside lights on to frighten them away because I'm not particularly brave. And then I went out the front door. When I went out the front door, there were 7 greys walking along the paddock from the front. That's my paddock there. They were walking from the right-hand side here towards me, 7 of them. And I thought I didn't know what to do. I wasn't frightened. So I went back inside and I closed the door. Anyway, to cut a long story short, the door opened slowly. 7 greys came in. We all sat down on my sofas. At that time, I had 2 3-seaters and a 2-seater. All seats were taken, and we had a discussion, a meeting. They allowed me the memory of the meeting, but didn't allow me the memory of what's discussed. So whether they were obviously getting some more information in relation to these greys may not be part of the Council of Eight, because there are many greys out there, many factions of them. They may have been just coming to see how and why, again, like the reptilian did, he was interested in why a mere human could travel outside of his body, understand telepathic communication, and materialize in their craft as, pure conscious energy, forming a human image, as it were, a human being, not unlike Aunt D when I was 8. You know,
Mhm.
were they, was that a projection? Was it out of body? Was it a materialization or what? I'm not certain, but clearly we have those abilities as well.
Mhm.
And when we develop them, we can do what our staff owners can.
Could you tell one gray from another? Like, did they have specific traits or were they identical?
That's a very good question. If the ones that I know, like Tag and Zar, I know them through their frequencies of consciousness. When those 7 greys came in, they were just 7 greys. I didn't know them,
Yeah.
and I haven't been given the memory. I can't even picture the individual faces, but I know that they had a very strange gait in their walk as they were walking along my front paddock, and they had like they were like dragging a leg. It was quite funny, and I hadn't seen that before. Uh, them walking like that. So I contacted a friend of mine who's seen the Greys as well, Terry Lovelace, and I asked him, was there anything strange about their gait? And he described the exact same thing as they walk, like dragging a leg and whatever. So, and I didn't tell him that I'd seen them before I asked him the question. I asked him the question first, and then I got the information. So clearly there are lots of other species, and I'm sure there's many more at the different levels of consciousness. I mean, even our plants, trees, and animals, they live at a frequency of consciousness. They are alive, and we can communicate with our uh, animals, plants, trees. I've got a good story. Again, if we've got time, I'm getting on a bit now, but my brother is a retired aircraft engineer, nuts and bolts man, very successful in his career, had his own business and everything. And then a few years ago, he retired to Spain. He obviously lived in the UK, retired to Spain, and he'd been there a few years. And I was on Zoom with him and chatting, and he said, "Kevin, you should see the size of the butterflies down here in Spain. They're huge, as big as your hand." And I said, "Oh, well, why don't you go out and ask them to come and land on your hand so you can have a look at them?" He said, "Being a nuts and bolts man and an engineer," he said, "Well, they won't do that, will they?" I said, "Well, indulge me. Go and try and see." So he went outside onto his balcony. His balcony overlooks down onto the Mediterranean, and a butterfly flew past. I said, "Right, when it flies past, you want to ask it to come and land. Hold your hand up and ask it to come and land on your hand. But you'll need a reason. Say you want to look at the beautiful colours on its wings." So he did. Butterfly came past. He asked it. It flew past, flew out of sight, and it came back. And it landed on his fingers. I said, "Right, now what you need to do, you need to ask it to go away and come back with a friend." But I said, "You need to have a reason. And the reason is you want to compare the beautiful colours on a friend's wings." So it took off. It flew out of sight. It came back. The same one landed on his fingers, and the second one landed on his forehead. So that's an example of using consciousness as communication and understanding how we can do that. And we can do that with plants, trees, and animals. We can do it with our extraterrestrials. And he had 12 landings of butterflies on him that day. He'd been there 3 years, and he'd just been watching them go backwards and forwards. And then the following day, I think he was showing off the following day. He said to his wife, "Come on, let's go outside on the balcony and I'll ask the butterflies to come and land on you." So they both went out onto the balcony. The butterflies came and landed on his wife's arm. And one landed on the glasses. And then a bit later on, they were reading a book and it landed on the book. And they've now got that connection with the butterflies because so that's really an experience that teaches them that you can communicate. I call him the butterfly whisperer now. So, but once you realize all that, how we're all connected through consciousness itself, it you are part of a larger collective consciousness,
Mhm.
and that it makes a difference to, I think, how you feel, your place in the universe, as it were, your place in society, whatever. So yeah, so hopefully we'll all keep sharing the information and we'll all keep learning together. And well, yeah.
Kevin, we're under 1 minute.
Oh, okay then. So we better round it up now then and close it down. So that's just about right, I think, isn't it? We can always chat again. Plenty more things to talk about. Things are evolving all the time. So and I look forward to seeing you when you're coming down here to Florida.
Yes, me too. Maybe next time we could go dive deeper into the messages and what they teach you and all of that.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, no problem at all. So
Thank you,
I'll,
Kevin.
I'll, I look forward to that, Chloe.
Yes, much love.
Okay, then we'll see you again. I do appreciate you taking the time out to share